We're good. Okay, so we'll call this meeting to order. Is there any additions to the agenda?
I can give you a motion to accept the agenda.
Okay, Murray moves to approve the agenda. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor.
Motion is carried. And adoption of the minutes. Any questions?
I can give you the motion to adopt the June 15th minutes.
Okay, all in favor?
In
In
favor.
favor.
In favor.
Okay, motion is carried. And if we could please have Kirk, if you could go through the agenda, the items that you have, and then Bonnie, thank you.
Morning, Council. The SDA agenda for July 6, 2020 is as follows. Item number 4, DA 19-20, Brad and Robin Secura. We have an update in regards to, and hopefully a resolution. Number 5, development application DA 4520. ICI is looking to construct a 22,200 square foot bulk fertilizer storage shed. Item number 6, DA 4620, Ryan Dr. Torrey, looking to construct a 140 square foot fishing shack. Item number 7, DA 4720, Adam Locke, looking to construct a 720 square foot detached garage. Item number 8, DA 4820, Isaac Mandel is looking to construct a 2,365 square foot dwelling with 2 decks. Item number 9, DA 4920, Isaac Wall, looking to construct a 1,600 square foot shop for personal use. Item number 10, DA 50-20, Corny Newdorf is looking to construct a 1,000 square foot addition to his dwelling. Item number 11, DA 5120, Live Holdings is looking to construct a 96 foot lattice tower for internet. Item number 12, Juan Elizabeth Cattler are looking to move in a previously occupied 980 square foot mobile home and construct a 30 by 40 tarp shelter for personal storage. And those are the SDA agenda items.
All right, other business, the Village of Barnwell, through the Intermunicipal Development Plan, has referred a subdivision application 2020-0-078 for a single lot subdivision. Item 15, we have a solar energy systems discussion, some proposed amendments based on previous discussions the SDA has had. And then lastly is Live Holdings LTD, a request to lease MD land to set up a utility pole.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie. So, Mr. Kettler, we're going to jump to your application first. So, Kirk, do you want to speak to it first? Thank you.
Morning, SDA. In front of you is a delegation. That's number 5220 is the development application number. Juan and Elizabeth Cattler are proposing to move in a previously occupied 980 square foot mobile home and construct a 30 by 40 foot tarp shelter for personal storage located on Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 8610831. That's in the northwest 9, 10, 17 west of the 4. Land use district is group country residential, is a discretionary use. I did conduct a site visit for this application. However, I'll allow the applicant to explain his desires in regards to this application.
Good morning, everybody. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me now? All right. So my name's Juan. We are basically planning on moving in this mobile home for just temporarily for 2 years. We would like to construct a new house actually in 2 years in 2022. Spring when we'd like to begin construction on the new home. And this dwelling is just gonna be there till the fall of 2022, and then we would be moving it off the property. And this would just be our temporary home until then. At first, we were wanting to move in a CCAN to store all our things and so on, but then we found out through Joanne that CCANs aren't permitted on country residential. So we were proposing to do possibly a tarp shelter now, a 30 by 40, just to store all our belongings, outdoor stuff, equipment and so forth until we get the house built, and the garage is going to be big enough that we would store the things in the garage after that, and then probably take down the tarp shelter as well, or if we were permitted a CCAN, to take that off the property as well once the house is finished. Then in the future, we would like to build a shop, which would be some years after 2022. So that's what we're looking at right now to do, so. Okay, so what we have planned right now for the septic, when we move the mobile in, is once the mobile is landed, we're gonna do a site plan for where exactly the new home is gonna be. And then we want to get a septic field designed for the new home so that we can use that septic field already now and just pump into that from the mobile home. Then once the new home is built, then it's already ready and waiting for us. We don't have to do that after the home is built. And same with the water system, we'd put a tank in right away now as well, already located in the position on the yard to accommodate the new home. And then once the mobile leaves and the new home is built, all we have to do is hook up and we're ready to go. Okay. So I had written in the letter that we would be using the septic tank as a holding tank. Basically that we would want to just bury the tank so we can start pumping into that right away so we can move in sooner in the mobile, but as quick as we can still get the field built so that we're not having the cost of getting a pumping unit out every month or whatever it would be to get the holding tank pumped out. So basically I'm hoping less than a month, but maybe for a month or so we would use that two-part septic tank as strictly a holding tank until we could get the field completed, and then it would operate like a normal unit.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Kettler?
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Bonnie, can you use the mic? Sorry.
Can you just describe the design of your tarp shelter and the materials and the colors and exactly what you're proposing for that?
Yes, I can do that. So we've just been looking around. It's a Quonset style, so they have a round top, and the color would be gray on that. They have kind of basically a structural steel frame that you can set up and pin to the ground, and then they have just a gray tarp that goes over top of that and you can fasten it to the ground.
My question would be for either Bonnie or Kirk. Just looking at the picture here of where you're proposing to put your home, it looks like it's right on the bank of the coulee. And I'm wondering what kind of setbacks are required from a coulee such as this one, so we don't see it in the river bottom in 5 years.
So On the site plan, there's two houses identified. So the house that he's currently making application for is the 14 by 70 mobile home. And then the other drawing is the future home. So certainly the future home is going to need much more consideration at the time a development application is made. So if this is approved, it will be clear in the approval that that future home needs separate approval, because we do have setback standards from the coolies in the land use bylaw, so they'll have to demonstrate that they meet all of the required setbacks and they're not within the setback buffer zone.
Like I said, I would encourage them to know that up front where they are not gonna be able to put a home, so they don't plan their yard around putting their home somewhere where in 5 years or 2 years, it's not gonna be allowed.
Yes, and certainly with respect to the location of the sewer field and the overall planning for the long-term development, that has to be addressed. But as far as what's the application being made today is for the mobile home, which clearly meets setback requirements.
I'm not sure if this question is, so the fact of the CCAN, it's because it would be so long, right? Because I thought we did have some provision if it was for construction, but this is for storage. Is that, I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yes, the applicant wanted it as a permanent
Right.
feature.
Okay.
In group country, it's not permitted. The property is zoned group country.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Mr. Keller, do you have any questions for us or our planners while you're here in regards to some of the comments about planning ahead, like if you want to be able to talk with them after, or?
The only question I would have is just on that coolie setback, do you happen to know what that would be? Just roughly, or?
Well, in the land use bylaw, we do have an idealized cross section, but typically what happens is you'll have to have an engineer actually calculate the slopes and the minimum setback for you.
Okay, that sounds good.
If you think of any other questions after that you want to ask, just phone the office and they can get you in touch with the right people. Okay. Is there any other? Go ahead, Kirk.
Sorry, your request in the original was for a CCAN. Now my understanding is that it was permanent addition. Is there any chance that you have a CCAN idea that would be a temporary solution in regards to the construction phase?
We would like to bring in a CCAN if possible, and then that would just disappear at the end of 2022, the same year we build the house. So then all my tools, everything would be stored in there, as well as yard equipment and that. So we definitely don't plan on keeping it there, but we had hoped to put it there now and then have it there for 3 years. So, or 2.5 years, I guess it would be.
What kind of items are you sticking in that that tarp shelter, sir? I know it says here ATV and then some tools as well. How do you lock that tarp shelter? Can you lock that tarp shelter?
That's the problem. There's not really a way. We can roll up the door and pin it to the ground, but people could break in there pretty easy. That's why we had hoped to do the CCAN, because then those are they're rodent proof and you can lock them well and all that stuff. Unless you guys have any other suggestions on a storage type that would be permitted, we're open to anything that's permitted.
Sorry, sir. How long would you require a CCAN on that property before you begin construction of your primary residence?
That would be from now till the spring of 2022.
Thank you.
Just one other thing while the applicant's here too. This area is identified as having potential historic resources. So if the application is approved, we will require an informative that the applicant be required to obtain any necessary approvals from historic resources. It's potential for archaeological resources and paleontological resources. I suspect those are lower down, but this whole area has been identified as such.
Do we know what the rating is on that? Like, because there is a number system, right?
Yeah, so it's a number 5, which just means highly likely to contain historic resources. So it's not officially designated, but you still need to obtain whatever necessary approvals. Typically what happens with a 5 is if you're digging and you run into historic resources, you have to cease immediately and report those resources to the minister.
Now, it's on the scale is 5, like low or high? Remind me. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
5's the lowest,
The
and
lowest,
1
okay.
is the highest.
Okay. Okay, is there any other questions? No. So, Mr. Kettler, thank you for coming today. The planning department will be in touch with you probably later today or tomorrow. I don't know what their time frame is after this, but we're just gonna continue to do our deliberations and finish with our meeting. So thank you, unless you have some other questions for us.
No, I should be good.
Okay, thank you for coming in today.
I appreciate
it. Thanks. Okay, if we could have a motion for closed. Oh, wait,
Just before we go into close, I just was wondering, is the discussion on the solar energy systems and live holdings enclosed, or are those in open?
I think we can talk about them in closed, but still talk about them in open. Unless you guys have a preference.
I just wasn't sure yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if they needed to be enclosed or not, then we would just carry on with them in open.
Okay, if that's what you guys feel.
There's nothing, I don't think anything's being put forward in
We don't make
confidential
any
nature.
decisions on them anyways.
Mhm.
You're
Okay,
just discussing potential,
all right,
potential drafts.
sounds good.
On that, I can make a motion to go into closed.
Okay, all in favor?
In favor?
In favor.
Okay, motion's carried and we'll just wait a moment.